of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Nate Oats. Coach Oats, where's your microphone, buddy? Uh-oh, we're going to get it. If that was one of your players, they'd be running down the line right now, right? Here we go. All jokes aside, Coach Oats.
My fault.
Thank you for joining us here at AT&T. Before we talk about this present day and the fact we know the two remaining teams in the NCAA tournament, which you're no stranger to, let's take it all the way back. As a young kid, Watertown, Wisconsin, so many great memories I'm sure you have, including that senior year at Maranatha High School, 24. No, I already know the kicks you were wearing on your JV team. It's the one I'm wearing right now. You let me know that. But what was it like growing up in Wisconsin where basketball is right there? A lot of people say Indiana, but Wisconsin's right there with that basketball pride and love. What was it like growing up in that great state?
This guy obviously knows. He's at Coach Terrell's camp. That was so my dad's a professor at Maranatha Baptist, still teaches there. So they had a prep school with the college, which is where I went to high school. And I don't know, I'm not sure who he is, but I know Dan, shoot. So, yeah, we went to Coach Terrell's camp together back in the day. So the head basketball coach at Maranatha was Jerry Terrell. We went to camp together. Dan went there with me. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, we went together. Some of my closest friends are that group that we went 24-0 with my senior year in high school. So it was pretty cool. It's on the same campus as the college was. So you go to the college games, college guys go to your games. I got to be pretty good friends with some of the college players. That's where I stayed to go to college because the tuition was free where my dad went. So it was good memories back there in Watertown.
Yeah, you think about that. I mean, the early formative years of your life were all spent right there in Watertown. So what a special time and opportunity. And then from that, you go right in to coaching in that very same environment. What was it like when you were coaching at that Division III level and understanding as a former player that strictly there for the love of the game? Athletic scholarships are something that don't exist at that level. You got guys that want to go out there and battle every day for the love of it, and they're also great basketball players as well and competitors.
Yeah, so I stayed on at Maranatha, and I actually coached a lot of the guys that I was just teammates with the year before, which is a little different dynamic. But we made it work. I actually got on them, everybody who knows me as a coach, there's no real other way to do it. You're going to coach them hard. So my former teammates, I was now coaching and coached them pretty hard. Then I stayed there for 3 years, and I actually moved up to Wisconsin Whitewater, which, if you know Division III basketball, that league with Platteville and Stevens Point, and Whitewater and Oshkosh, it's like, I think one of the best, if not the best Division III basketball league in the country. So it's been a couple years there at Whitewater. We won the league both years. Had a good time. Coach Vandermeulen's last legendary coach played at Wisconsin, coached at Whitewater. His last year coaching, I was an assistant. And then Pat Miller's first year coaching, they both won national championships. I was Pat's assistant, and then I ended up taking a high school job in Detroit, and I caught a few breaks, and somehow we ended up here.
And let's talk about that because that's an important time, and you kept it in the Midwest. You headed over to Detroit Romulus High School, 11 electric seasons while you were there. While you were there and your basketball journey was continuing, was the eventual goal to get back to college and eventually become a Division I college coach, or were you going to be content? Were you happy coaching the high school game?
Yeah, so my original goal, I got a master's in kinesiology so that I could teach and coach at the Division III level. Most D3 coaches, at least when I started, were also professors, teachers in the kinesiology department. So I've got a master's in kinesiology from Madison. I was just trying to move up and be like a head D3 coach. That I would have been happy doing that the rest of my life, and there's a lot of really good coaches at that level, and they live good lives. So then I somehow got talked to. One of my players at Maranatha was from Detroit, Ed Horn, talked me into taking that Romulus job, which was the best thing I ever did in hindsight. But I went there, and at that point, I was going to try to move up, maybe get D2, again, move up that way. And then I started to get to know the Division I level because I ended up having 18 kids that played for me go play Division I. So I at that point, if I could have just got into Division I anywhere, even as an assistant, not be a teacher, all I get to do is basketball all day, I'd have been ecstatic. I would have gone anywhere to just be like a Division I assistant. And then as I started to figure the business out a little better, but I had 3 daughters born in Michigan. I got a family. I'm not just taking any job. They get fired. So I got a little pickier with what I thought I'd do. And then I got to the point where, mainly based on Bob Hurley's dad, Bob Sr., this guy's a big-time high school coach, turns down Division I schools, a Hall of Famer. I could stay in high school and be great. I'd be happy with this. As soon as you get to that point in your life where I'm happy with where I'm at, I'm good to be here the rest of my life, that's when you get the next offer, and that's kind of what happened. And I
dive into that a little bit, because it is super unique, and you didn't even know at the time you were technically interviewing for your next position and opportunity, because Bobby Hurley Jr. says, wow, I like the way this guy is handling this recruiting process. I see something special in him. He invites you to join his University of Buffalo staff, and you were part of that team's first ever NCAA tournament appearance. What was that journey like, and what was it like to be part of a historic moment like that where you knew they had never been there before and you were part of that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like you said, Bobby was an assistant at Rhode Island when they recruited one of my kids. He got involved heavily with the process, so job opens. He had never been a head coach. His brother kind of gave him some advice, like, look at Nate. He's been a head coach for 11 years. You probably need somebody with some head coaching experience. That I was fortunate. That family was very they had a lot more respect for high school coaches, being where Dan had come from high school, the dad. So we get to Buffalo, and they had a pretty successful coach there before we got there, but it never made the NCAA tournament. Their thing was they needed to get over the hump and make the tournament. So we were hoping it'd be 4-year process, something like we'd eventually get there. Well, came a little sooner than we thought. In year 2, we had an upset, made the NCAA tournament, and next thing you know, we were ecstatic. Bob's gone. He took the Arizona State job, and I had recruited a lot of the guys into Buffalo. Matter of fact, the reigning player of the year in the conference was one of my high school players from Romulus. And 2 years of being in Division I as an assistant, I get offered the head job at Buffalo, which was a little crazy. Like I said, I've had a lot of breaks with where I've gotten, and very fortunate. God's been very good to me, and try to realize that it's more what he's done for me than what I've done. But you got to be ready for your break. So I get offered a job at Buffalo, and I caught a few more breaks with some players we got in. Next thing you know, I'm here.
Well, they're well-deserved and they're earned. So you also are responsible for a lot of that success. MAC Coach of the Year. That wasn't the first and only NCAA tournament appearance you were responsible for at Buffalo. And, in fact, when Bobby Hurley left, he said if he's not going to be named the head coach, then he's coming with me to Arizona State, which helps solidify that, right? He has the ultimate level of respect for you.
Yeah, no, I owe Bobby a lot. My career I wouldn't be here without him. So he did. He went to Arizona State, said, Nate, do everything you can to get the job, and if it doesn't work out, I've got a spot for you there. So I literally super loyal to him because he was so good to me. Because if he'd have forced me to come, then I wouldn't have had that opportunity. If he made me he was great. So anytime I get a chance to help him, I owe it to him. So I do. So yeah, I was fortunate. Danny White's the AD at Tennessee now, which is obviously and in the SEC. But Danny White was the AD that hired me. His deputy AD, Alan Green's the AD at Pitt now, but he was the AD at Auburn when I came to Alabama. So my two, and he became the AD at Buffalo. So my first two ADs were now at Tennessee and Auburn when I came to Alabama. So kind of came full circle with a lot of us there at Buffalo from back in those days.
And then you think, hey, I've made it. I'm a Division I coach, MAC Coach of the Year, multiple NCAA tournament appearances. The journey continues. The Southeastern Conference calls. Roll Tide, University of Alabama. This rare and unique opportunity becomes available to you because you've earned it based on your track record and resume. And when you make that decision to head to Tuscaloosa, knowing that this is really the epitome of all basketball jobs, especially as we look at 14 SEC teams in this 2025 NCAA tournament, a tournament record, to know you were a part of that and one of the greatest teams to advance deep into this tournament. What was it been like getting to Tuscaloosa, taking that program, and continuing the greatness they've already had before you got there?
Yeah, so what the SEC is today wasn't quite that back when I took the job. If it was, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have taken it because it's pretty competitive now. But I, like you said, we've gotten it as a group, as a whole, with the SEC, with Alabama involved to this point. When I got there, it was a good league. Obviously, we had the resources to win at a high level, but not the best league in the history of college basketball like it is now. So, Greg Byrne, I think, is best AD in the country, hires me. And the athletic department at Alabama, I felt like was the best athletic department in the country. Football, obviously, best football program in the history of college football. 6 sports and 1 national championships. Basketball was kind of mid-tier SEC. It was our job to get basketball up to the level of what the rest of the athletic department was. That's how I felt. So we went to work. Second year, we were able to win the SEC regular season tournament both. We made a Sweet 16 run. 2 years after that, we were the number 1 overall seed, but still had never made a Final Four in school history till last year. And now our goal was to be playing this weekend still, and not being here with you, coaching, prepping for the game tomorrow. But in a 1-game elimination tournament, it's hard, it's tough. So, Florida's still in it from the SEC. We played them twice. Yeah, go Gators for the SEC. Houston, we played in November. Beat them in overtime. So I played both these teams, and we feel like our program's right there with the best teams in the country. But you got to be playing your best basketball in March, and things got to go well. They went well for 3 games, and we lost the Elite 8 to a really good team in Duke. And Duke, shoot, that game last night was crazy. The fact that Houston's still playing is a testament to how tough and mentally tough to come back. But some really good games last night, and I'm fortunate to be involved in trying to get a team back there next year, and we're close this year. But it's been a lot of fun at Alabama.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, it really comes down. Last night we witnessed in both of those games, they were hard-fought battles till the end. And then when you looked at that Houston game, you said, wow, if you looked at 99% of the film on that game and you had to pick the winner without knowing the finale, you would probably guess the other direction. But that's the beauty of the madness of March and the abyss of April, is you have to battle through that bracket. And all it takes is one minor detail. We talked with Coach Painter about it yesterday. They led in every statistical category except for the offensive rebounds and three-point percentage, which is what took them down or lost by 2. So to get so close, as you mentioned, you've been to the Final Four before. We're going to get you back. Next time this year, we're not going to be having this conversation.
We won't be talking. I'll be prepping for the game.
Absolutely. And, a fun fact, that was something that really happened was one of the first interviews with Scott Drew the year before they won the national championship. I was like, Coach Drew, you seem like a really fun, nice guy. I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to have this conversation with you next year. I want you to be busy. He was like, what did I do wrong? I said, no, I want you preparing for the national championship.
And sure enough, he was.
Yeah, and I saw him 2 years later, and he goes, we didn't have our interview last year. We got to get that back again, And so funny situations. But from the funny stuff, we go to the real stuff, because the most important team that you're part of is your family. Been blessed with 3 amazing daughters. But there is things in life that happen to all of us. And you went through a very difficult one, and now it's been 10 years. If you think about that, your wife, Crystal, was diagnosed with double-hit lymphoma, a really heavy hit that nothing really in life can prepare you for that moment. As we look back now, 10 years later, what was that journey like, and how as a family did you come together and mount that mountain?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty good story because the outcome came around good. My first year in Division I, like I said, I'd only been there at Buffalo 2 years. So, I caught a break. Fortunate an AD hired me with only being out of high school 2 years. Going into our first exhibition, it was a close scrimmage at Army that week. Crystal, my wife at the time, we had 3 daughters together, and they were young. She got diagnosed with double-hit lymphoma. So, I offered to sit the year out coaching just because I need to make sure. And she was like, no, she handled it well. So we met with the doctors, got her a good plan. There's a very good cancer center right there in Buffalo. So she got the whole thing. We did I coached through that whole first year. We were fortunate. We hit a tough shot at the butt. Kid Blake Hamilton, who hit me up yesterday, playing for us at Buffalo. Great story in and of himself. He's supposed to go a D2. We saw him. I signed him. He ends up hitting the shot to beat Akron to send us to the NCAA tournament my first year. I've got I just on the phone with my daughter. You were back there with me. She called and she needs some money. I'm like, look, well, good thing for me, I get this little appearance fee. I'll give you a little money for your for your 7-nuts you need. But she, Josh, she was young. Brielle, Alexi, we got Crystal through it. She's great. At 5 years, they said she had the same chance of getting that cancer as me and you had. So she's been 10 years clean. At the 5 years, they pretty much cleared her. So it's great. So I'm really big. She's the mother of my daughters, and the coaches versus cancer thing is still, and anybody here that can help in the coaches versus cancer thing, it's great. They do a lot for it. The suits and sneakers. I'm a big advocate. Like, it's suits and sneakers, not just sneakers. Everybody's just wearing these. Now, we got to put the suits back on for 1 week and go
like
suits and sneakers.
Yeah, okay, you want to go?
Yeah, it's not called quarter zip and sneakers. It's suits and sneakers week. So we got to get all the coaches back wearing suits, at least just for the 1 week for the suits and sneakers, the coaches versus cancer thing. But that was a big deal to me.
Well, with that, we're going to give you, the fans, a chance to say hello to not only one of the greatest coaches in the SEC, but in college basketball. And as you can obviously see, a phenomenal person as well. Coach Oats, thank you for joining us here.
Appreciate you having me on. It's been great.
Absolutely.